Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Skari Talks with me, Skari, your grateful host. This is a show where I sit down and talk about a topic that has been on my mind, usually throughout the week. It's an open forum where I get folks from the chat to ask questions. It's a very opinionated piece, so make sure that you stick around if you like to hear opinions. If not, then this is probably not the video for you, which is completely fine. I tend to shy away from topics like this over my historical being on YouTube persona, but this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I've seen a lot of fellow content creators, as well as myself, deal with this sort of issue around negativity and negative comments, gatekeeping, misogyny, and other sort of interactions online that tend to weigh on you as what I called a crazy person. Now, I just had a fantastic live stream with my aunt Rosie, who's now everyone's Aunt Rosie, and I brought her on to my Just Put Paint on It stream, and she's one of the inspirations for me being a content creator and the person who I am today. Someone who has followed their passion to do something I love and who's trying to inspire others to be a nice person and to be nice to other people around them. And I love it because she had this concept called the bloom concept, where a flower that blooms, and I know they're going very philosophical here, but a flower can be stepped on, trodden on, like little, worms and bugs can like eat bits of your plant or whatever, but plants are resilient and will try and bloom create seeds, and then propagate. And so your little plant, even though it got beat up, can still be sort of like a center of inspiration for the rest of the garden, right? And or like a weed if you want to do it more perversely. And so I wanted to talk about this topic, which is negativity within being a content creator and being online. And I'm not a perfect person. I know that for a fact. I'm also not impervious to negativity. Even though I have developed strategies and a thick skin, in the sense that I don't try not to waste energy on negativity, and I find that that's usually the best way to interact it. So today I'm going to talk about a couple of sort of like interactions I've had recently. It's not like a mean tweets style thing, but I want to create a sort of picture as well as discuss, tools that I use to essentially allow myself to continue to be a creative, crazy person. Right? I'm literally a little crazy, but I'm okay with that because it's what makes me an artist. It's what makes me a unique, right? And it fuels me in terms of creating the videos that I do and putting the time into doing content creation, and just I'm a very creative minded individual. Jake Reed says, are you talking about Templar Tim? Templar Tim being the sergeant for my Black Templars, who doesn't like dying. He's a thick shield. We could use that analogy, of course, in terms of hiding behind your ignore AP1 and 2 mega shield from Templar Tim, who tends to be quite nice. I'm also drinking a nice cup of breakfast tea. Now, of course, if you're brand new to the show and you're watching live, feel free to put a comment in the chat. Feel free to read the live chat if you're watching the replay of the show, and let me know what you think. And it's about creating a discussion here. Everybody has their right to have an opinion about something, which is fine. However, sometimes I feel that there's that because of the fact that we create, or a lot of our interactions in the current world are through electronics, right? You have sort of like a barrier between you and a person that's on the other side of the screen. And in traditional senses, if you were an asshole, without really saying it in any other way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, but if you were to walk up to someone and say an asshole comment, you would get told right away that you're an asshole, or you would sort of like have some sort of a conflict that would happen right then and there. What has happened is the safety of the screen, of like that ability to just kind of spew out information or spew out like opinions, even though they might be hurtful or not well thought out. Through this is just like a symptom of the time that we live in. So it's not going to go away, I don't believe. However, one can be educated yourself on how to sort of like deal with it. For example, Mr. Kari says, "Can you start Necrons?" Well, that's John Necrons. I'm definitely going to be starting Necrons personally. Agents of Vex says, "It's hard to imagine that the negativity towards you even exists. I suppose its amount of disparately low in comparison to positive stuff." 100%. Now, Agents of Vex, this is 100% right. The good completely outweighs the bad every single time. And it's one of the things I love doing is focusing on the good, right? Like if you scroll through 300 comments on like a YouTube video that I'm in, for example, most of them would be like, "Oh, cool, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much. This was great. I really loved it." And then the odd person in there would be like, "Skari's face is dumb, and I don't like the sound of his voice," or just very like childish style comments where I have allowed myself to be me. And by being me, I have sort of like made someone uncomfortable because, for all I know, they live in sort of like in a state where they are doing something that they are not happy with, or they are just not true to themselves. And so when they see someone being true to themselves, it sort of like exists in an exact sort of like competition to their worldview. And when that happens, they can like lash out and whatnot. Is it your good attitude that makes people mad? Yes, actually. Well, I have been called, I have been said that I'm too happy and that that's a bad thing, which I'll never understand. Now, I've always tried to keep like my online persona so like separate from my physical who I am persona, right? Like who I am in real life and Skari, right? I tend to try and keep them separate, as in Skari is a performer. He's an entertainer. He's also an archon that will stab you in the back. That sort of stuff. And so that is more of an entertainment value. Like, of course, a lot of the thing, like being a nice person and that sort of thing, that's part of my general lifestyle. But in terms of keeping the worlds apart, I try to, so that when I need to go away from being an entertainer, I can kind of live my life as my life, right? Spliff says, "I love your voice and face." Well, thank you. I do need a haircut though. I believe a couple of snips on the hair here would be really good. Um, and 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 recently, like about a week ago, I had a certain individual go onto my personal Facebook page, and I had posted a link. Recently, I posted a link to my Patreon page. For anybody who doesn't know, right? First of all, most people don't subscribe, don't go to Patreon. Like they just watch the content that I create for free, and that is completely fine, right? Do I do coaching? Yes. Do I do coaching on Patreon and on Art of War? Yes. Do I have different tiers at the Patreon? That's anything from "thank you for supporting me so I can do this job," right? Then awesome. So I was posting a link being like, "Hey, if you like what I do, here's the Patreon link." And this one person started, commenting on the fact that I had promoted my Patreon page on my personal Facebook page. And at first I was like, well, I didn't really understand the angle because it was like an analogy to Lord of the Rings, which is very creative, may I add. However, the more I read one or two comments, and I could tell it was not it like in it with an pure intention. It was definitely designed to like troll me in a way. And so I kind of was like, well, that's disappointing. I thought it was going to be some sort of cool, like, "Oh, cool, I like this too. Here's some like cool analogy stuff." No, it was designed to just put me down. So what I did is I ended up muting the thread, and I just let the thread go for a couple of days. And I was like, oh, well, it's a shame. I'll come back to it later. Come back to it later. It's like 40 comments from the same person. Good thing I muted it because I went about my life and didn't worry about it at all. Kind of skimmed through. There was like a comment on like Tolkien like doing blackface and like racism, and I was like, okay, this is way too much. So then I deleted all the comments and blocked the person. And that was it. Like I didn't really spend too much time on it. I kind of noticed. I was like, is it really outrageous? It was. Okay, blocks, like deleted comments, done. But at the end of the day, it was surprising how long-winded this was without any interaction from me. And it sort of gave me like a bit of a you know, it wasn't a reality check, but it was like I don't like I feel sorry for the person that they would go and spend that much of their day clickety clacking on their phone trying to be negative or to bring someone down. And and I know that a lot of new coming content creators and artists have to deal with people who like push back at their like wanting to pursue their dream and wanting to be an Instagram personality or wanting to just create something cool and fun that people enjoy liking or sharing or viewing. And and that's okay. Like not everyone is is brave enough to pursue their passion and make their life or their passion into their life. And it takes a lot of balls. It takes guts to go out there and do it. And then you have to wade through people who are negative or the odd like comment. And like I have a lot of women wargamer contacts and friends, Katie from Tabletop Tactics and Tanya War Mistress Gates and like Erin, the Dark Elf girl, and like a whole bunch of other ones, Zambies, and they get so much flack for being women and doing the hobby. Like it's actually ridiculous how much shit they have to wade through to do what they do. And I just wanted to sort of like create light to it. Like even someone like myself, I'm not impervious to it, right? Um, but I did want to say that one of the best ways to deal with something like that is to not give it life or energy. At some point we'll have shows or I'll be able to take videos and comments where I'll be able to do like a mean tweet segment where I make light of it and kind of like ownership of it. And we kind of have poke fun at people making fun of you. And then you turn it into something that's more fun in terms of, oh, you were a jerk. I'm going to make fun of that. And that creates me more content. So thank you very much. That sort of thing. But at the same time, it's about like just trusting in yourself and your surroundings and the positive people who overall will outweigh the negative 1,000%. And even if you are beaten up and bent over and like ripped and torn, you are creating something nice and something that will inspire someone at some point. And and not engaging is super important. So that's really sort of like the main focus of today's topic. And I just wanted to say my mind, say my piece. I'm not impervious to it. I do suffer from like I'm an anxious person when things get going. I get stressed out. I try very hard not to let stressful situations get to me. I don't like wasting energy on stress. And it's not easy all the time. And so, I have to deal with it too. I've just dealt with it in my own way. You know, whenever I'm feeling a little down, I'll go for a walk or I listen to EDM music really loudly with like big headset on. So it cancels the noise out and I can literally like lie down and just listen to music. It's fantastic. That's what I like doing. Or I draw or I paint or I build or I do a live stream where I get to rant about it. That's right. So let me know what you think with a comment. Tell me if you've had to deal with negativity, how you've dealt with it, but in a positive way. Tell me, like tell me how you've overcome these struggles or the struggle itself. And I'll be there reading the comments. I'll be there answering the comments, giving any advice if you're looking for advice, for as much as my limited capacity in this worldview could tell you. Because after all, we all end up in the same place anyway, right? Not alive, which means that life's too short to be a dick to people. So be nice to everybody, be nice to the people around you, be an inspiration if you want to be, appreciate those that inspire you, and, allow other people to exist together in your existence as well. Tanya says, worm food. That's right. We are all in the end. Is that how that works? Tanya says, I've noticed the longer you don't engage, the angrier these folks get. But that's because they sort of, I feel they want engagement. They want to feel like their negativity is having an impact on you in some way. By not engaging, it sort of fuels that negativity. But at the same time, you kind of don't want to waste I don't want to waste my time on that. I might as well have a conversation on Instagram with someone who wants to start their own YouTube channel and who doesn't, and that they don't know what camera equipment to get, what sort of, speaker system to get, anything like that. And I show them my studio and I go, literally, you don't need anything. Like, just start with your phone and just do it. And if you're passionate about it, you'll get going. Then reading 10 comments about somebody complaining that your army list is too competitive, or that you're having too much fun and you ruined the battle report because you made pew pew noises, and you're a grown person, so you shouldn't be making pew pew noises and nom nom noises with your Tyranids. Grow up, honestly. Scorpio says, sadly, they feel validation from it. Yeah, 100%. And it is the case. We live in sort of this world where relegated people from society that were fringe, have an ability to kind of go in. And I don't mean fringe as in people who, were that sort of negative, in a community, somebody who's always negative, in a game group, right? If you're in a game group and you have somebody who's an asshole all the time, or who cheats at the game, or, doesn't interact well with other people in the game group, what's going to happen is they're going to stop finding games to play. They're going to, people aren't going to want to hang out with them. There's a natural consequence in society to sort of being a dick, right? But online, you can't, other than banning them or whatever, you can't really, there's no consequence to it. So that sort of socialization doesn't really exist, or doesn't reinforce the fact that saying things like that isn't nice, right? It's this vicious cycle as well. I'm 36, better not take my nom nom noises away. 100% says Scorpio. KT Plays 40K says, pew pew and nom nom noises are the best though. 100%. They bring the table to life for me. Agents of X says, I'm just lucky I still wasn't roasted by anyone for about 2 years of my channel's existence. That's completely fine. And for the longest time, I feel I've had a few people who just follow my channel to put a dislike on every video. Which is funny, because then they literally took the time to click dislike on every video, which still drives engagement. That's the thing. It still drives engagement. Zen Drake says, it's unfortunate. Some people just don't understand how to interact and don't have the right community or support to correct behavior. Correct. Having that right support and interacting with people who you want to be like is a huge part of it. If you hang out with people who are jerks, you're more than likely going to be a jerk. If you hang out with really nice people, you're more than likely going to be a nice person, right? And it's just that sort of behavior reinforcement. That's why good places like this are important. Yeah. Thank you for the comment. The algorithm is pleased. Speaking of the algorithm, I think that's all we got for today. So if you like the topic, make sure you leave a like on this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I highly suggest you do. And a huge shout out to all the channel Patreons, without whom none of this content will be possible. If you'd like to join the Denizen community and help me create more content like this, the links are down below. You can also check that out. We're doing a cool dice sale promo, which I put up a link on the main community page, where you can go get yourself a set of Skari dice with some Skari dice bags It's like a special deal, like to get them out for the holidays. So if you want to get yourself a set of dice that fit well in your back pocket, that's a great place to do it. Other than that, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Skari, your grateful host, and this has been Skari Talks. Skari out. Ah, the Dark Kin. Be nice to everybody, you jerks.